Welcome to my video. This is Eckogen, Arknights Endfield. Here are my first impressions for the alpha technical tests. I'll discuss each category, give my overall thoughts on it, and provide a rating out of 10. 1 being awful, 10 being perfect. We'll start with the story. The story itself is average. I won't spoil it. All I will say is it's nothing mind-blowing or revolutionary. It is the continuation of the Arknights timeline, taking place in the same universe, just on a different planet, many years into the future. To compare, I'd rate Arknights lore around an 8, while Enfield lore around 6.5. Not bad, but not memorable. And that's the issue. Nothing was memorable or emotionally striking. It does need some improvement. Let's move from the story to the UI, something you'll be looking at quite a bit. The UI is very smooth and crisp. Everything is easily identifiable, and the information is presented well. Operator menu transitions are clean AF. It gives a more interactive feel to it, and it's something I've just never seen before. The flow itself feels natural. It doesn't have an unnecessary amount of menus for players to go through to find what they're looking for. Calling you out, Starfield. A solid 9 for the UI. Arts and graphics style, this was developed as a PC game and lacks common graphical settings. Besides the quality presets, there should be additional options such as texture, lighting, shadow, effect, terrain, etc. A max of 60 FPS as part of the PC master race, I'm disgusted. Maybe the devs have a plan to add these options later on. Currently they are missing, and thus I'm pointing it out. In terms of optimization, it is needed. I'm playing on an i9 9900K RTX 3070 Ti, 32GB of RAM with an SSD. As you can see, load times are fast. There are times where my game will drop in frames. It's noticeable. It tends to happen in the bright zone area. Not too worried because they have plenty of time to optimize the game. A 7 for this category. I'm honestly fine with the art style of the environment and the world and design for the operators. Talos 2 is a brutal and harsh world. There shouldn't be any vibrant, happy, oversaturated color palettes, and it's not what I would expect in this setting. The dark, muted colors and designs match perfectly with the theme. It's dark, it's gritty, this is Enfield. Simple and minimal, like the Enmin, can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be complex. Overall, an 8. Speaking of ops, what about the EN dub? Solid performance. There were no lip sync issues and cutscenes. Lines weren't cringy or overbearing. The odd time there was an awkward pause, or the next line was introduced too quickly and cut off what was being said. Now, if you want to hear some of the EN voice lines, I do have videos for each operator. Check out on my channel. They did a good job on the casting. Based selection, 7.5. Speaking of base, this leads to my next topic. The base is the core element of the game. It is essential and you cannot do without it. If you hate base management, base building, base mechanics, then you'll dislike the game. Fortunately, the base concept is fun and rewarding, and it's how you obtain new gear plus other things. Take the time to read and follow the in-game guide. It's laid out well, and the confusion was minimal. I was never lost. As you progress, you unlock features that automate and remove a lot of the hassle for manual input and output of materials. So why is base so important? Well, it's how you craft gear for your operators. Without this gear, you're good as dead. And while we're on the topic of gear, all gear pieces have a fixed stat, meaning there is no RNG for the gear you find or craft. The exception to this rule are essences, which are weapon add-ons, and that's the only RNG. I'm totally fine with that. This means no nonsense grind is required. Genshin Impact artifacts. Anyway, it's a cool feature, adding substance to the game, and certainly makes it feel like a callback to the base we all know very well in Arknights. Exploration. With this being a 3D RPG, there are expected elements of exploration. I would not compare this to Zelda or Genshin with vast and expansive areas to explore and see. I don't think that was the goal or intention. Maps are small, journey from point A to B, mostly linear, climbing mechanics do not exist. You can zipline from place to place provided you've built the structures. There are hidden areas and loot that can be found for those who take the extra time to look around. In general, to improve on exploration, the dev team could add more hidden stashes, secret areas, Easter eggs to encourage players to check every part of the zone. Might be a good idea to add scenic vantage points to show off the world of Talos 2. 7 for exploration. Combat is something that can make or break the game in terms of player retention. It is simple, but not in a bad way. It's basically skill, regular attack to take advantage of pursuit, then skill. Repeat until ultimate is unlocked. You break enemy stability by using skills and interrupting telegraphed attacks. Plus, you destroy elemental orbs that are generated during combat to help deal damage and control effects. Once you master rotations and understand mechanics, you can easily chain crowd control effects and minimize enemy uptime. Now for the cons. I think the game is too heavily dependent on stats. If your levels and gear is not the same or higher than enemies, I find I'm struggling and have to constantly use health recovery items to stay alive. For example, if my team and gear are level 30, I fight level 35 stuff, they are curb stomping. I have to resort to tactics such as pulling them one at a time to deal with the enemies. But hey, maybe it's just me, skill issue, who knows. Now the other pain point I have with combat revolves around regular attacks from enemies. Regardless of your positioning, their attacks are guaranteed to hit you. For example, if you have the foresight to move away because you know they're about to swing that sword, it's going to hit you even if you're clearly out of range. Another example is with crossbow enemies. You can't strafe left or right to avoid the projectile. That shit is like a homing missile. It's going to hit you. Even if you are taking cover behind something, that projectile is going through and hitting you. This needs to change. I find it incredibly frustrating that we have to take damage no matter what we do. The game should reward players for having good positioning awareness and reflexes. Award player skill. Don't be lazy with hit scans. I don't know if the answer is to add defensive capabilities such as dodge, block, parry, etc., but at the very least, allow us to avoid attacks. For this category, give me the 5. Now, combat assistance is provided through AI. Surprisingly, the AI does do a good job of avoiding telegraphed attacks. Casters will attempt to, stay at range whenever you bring them too close to enemies, although they aren't perfect. Fast moving and sweeping attacks will get them. AI movement can be scuffed if you're fighting on stairways or around containers. I've seen them get stuck on corners or crevices. Currently, no options to set AI behaviors, such as how passive or aggressive you want their playstyle to be, or when they should consume recovery items when health drops below a certain threshold. Now, they shouldn't be given the ability to cast skills on their own because I feel that would retract too much from the combat and they get too AFK or auto feeling. AI does need some polishing, giving it a 6. Alright, those are my impressions from this alpha test. Overall, the game's a 7 to my eyes. Quite impressive for something in alpha. It does need some rework and polishing to make it stand out in the saturated gaming market and genre. Curious what the other testers think of this game. I'm sure there will be various takes and opinions. Do you agree or disagree with my assessments? Let's talk about it. Comment down below. Check out my socials, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace out.